What's up guys, welcome back to another video, hope you're all doing well today. Today we are on a rainy Redbud to kind of simulate the nations that just happened. Now, the whole point of this video was I just wanted to have a ride around and talk about the whole event as it was. And so I unfortunately I couldn't go myself. I did want to, I was thinking about it earlier in the year, but things didn't just end up coming together. What I do want to do, however, which is I think a lot more reasonable, is next year at ONA. 100% want to go to ONA. I've only ever been to one nations, I think it was, in my life, so definitely need to start upping those numbers a bit. And ONA literally just across the pond, not too far away, and I think Charlie wants to go as well. So hopefully we'll get a get a little bit of a boys' trip on the go. Go hang out. Maybe meet some of you guys. We'll see how that goes. See if I'm feeling nice enough to show my face to people. We shall see. But all good stuff overall. So, nations. Well, I think it was a very entertaining year, in my opinion. I'm very surprised. I expected the US to kind of stomp a lot harder than they did, especially being on home soil. I think maybe in the last motor of the day, when they knew they didn't need to do anything crazy or gain any more points, I definitely feel like both Sexton and Tomac reined it in a little bit. And I feel like Tomac 100% was capable of going through to the front, but he just kind of chilled around that 6th spot or so. Rode absolutely amazing in the first race. He was insane, and overall just good racing all weekend. Can't really speak too much on Great Britain side of things. As you can see on the screen, hang on, let me go in third person up and over the leap. I am using a Tommy Searle Great Britain replica bike, which was uploaded to MXB mods. Oddly enough, 2 different versions of the same bike uploaded within 5 hours by completely different creators, and they do differ slightly. I've checked both of them out. I honestly don't know which one is the one that I'm riding right now, so I do apologise. But yeah, go to MXB mods. You'll find both of those. And before anyone asks, these handguards, there was an update to some of the OEM kind of model replacements. So it's not like a weird ripped skin or anything like that. It is on MXB mods. You can go and download it. I will try my best to remember to link it for you should you want to go and do that. It's purely just a drag and drop into your Honda 450 bikes folder, so really straightforward. It's really easy to do, and exactly the same thing that I've been doing to my gas in recent videos as well. So Great Britain, absolute write-off year. Can't lie, didn't really expect much from them anyway. As much as I love Anstey and I love Wilson, I feel like I don't know if either of them two should have been in the team, if I'm being completely honest. Especially Anstey being on a 250. I could understand him on a 450. He's a bit of a bigger guy, but I'm not sure why he was put on the 250. That was just a recipe for disaster. I would have loved to see either Conrad Muse or maybe Josh Gilbert show up. I mean, Gilbert's had an amazing season in the AMA this year. A little bit disappointed that he didn't really get noticed for it. I don't think I've seen him really been mentioned at all on the streams either, other than when he wiped himself out at I think it was round 2. So was Hangtown round 2? I think it was. I could be mistaken. It was a while ago. You know, we're at the end of the season already. So yeah, Great Britain right off. So moving on from that point, I wasn't anti-America by any means this year. Usually we've always got that ongoing thing of it is America versus the rest of the world, and maybe like Europeans don't want the US to win, and the US don't want Europe to win, and that's not the case for me. I go into it and I just want to watch some really good riding. However, what changed my mind on that a little bit was bloody Jason Thomas. Now, some of you might have seen, I need to stop going for that, that's not doable in the rain. Some of you might have seen the community post that I put out the other day. Now, I'm not a massive Jason Thomas fan at the best of times when he's reporting from pit lane in the AMA series. I've made comments on his hair looking like an ice gem and things like that, and I just find him annoying. If you don't know what an ice gem is, I'm not sure how popular they are in the US, just Google it. I'm sure you'll find what I mean in a hurry. So yeah, to have him in the booth, I wasn't the happiest person in the world about that. He made some very interesting comments, I want to say, and there was so much bias there. It was ridiculous. I can understand being patriotic and wanting your country to win. If you're a commentator, you really can't voice it as much as he did. I feel like Paul Malin was being a lot more fair for all teams. You know, he wasn't just cheering on Great Britain and that was it. I think he gave respect to all of the countries, even including the US as well. But yeah, Jason to me just seemed a bit weird. Even comments like when Dylan went on the podium and said that we're going to war, and he just said like, well, last time I checked, America had to come and save you in the war and things like that. Like, it's just so, that is very, very arrogant. And there was actually quite a few American guys that commented on that post of mine and said, we don't claim him, you know, that then some of you guys agreed with me. Some of you thought that he was fair, but I think that is probably a little bias coming into it. Probably the same reason that I like Paul Mayland so much is from him being from the UK as well as me. Maybe I'm a bit biased towards that, but I just think he done a much better job. I would have loved to get someone like Weege in the booth. Weege has got to be my favourite commentator of all time. Maybe someone like Bubba in there as well, but then I understand that you've probably got to have both sides in there. You can't just fill the booth up with US guys, otherwise that might be all that gets talked about, which it was a little bit annoying because anytime Paul would speak, he would bring up all the different countries, just bring up even guys maybe back in 20th or so, just list them off. Oh, I just had a notification come through. Didn't expect that to come through my PC. I've just set up Opera GX, by the way, so those are WhatsApp messages that you've got going on. I will need to mute them for the next video. I do apologise. So yeah, I feel like Paul's been really fair, kind of mentioning people back to 15th, 20th place or so, giving everyone a little bit of time, a little bit of spotlight, and then anytime Jason would open his mouth, bang, straight to the Americans. Which, like I said, I'm fine with him doing it a little bit because he's American. We're at Redbud, you know. America should be winning at Redbud. It would be nice if he mentions other people. Then just some really odd things like when Arminus Jessiconis crashed and Jason was like, how do you manage to crash with legs that long? Just really ignorant comments that just made me not be a really big fan of his. I much preferred the one moto that Ricky Johnson was in the booth. I think he done a much better job, but I digress. That's my hatred of Jason out of the way. Let me know in the comments what you think of him, if you noticed him, or if you liked or disliked him commentating. I'd say there's a good maybe 90% to 10% split on people commenting on my posts that kind of agree with me versus disagree. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not just being a stuck-up Brit. But I think it's really good racing. I was definitely cheering on the Aussies and the Frenchies at one point. It was just nice to see the challenge being brought to the Americans as well on home soil. Dylan was riding unreal. I'm a bit gutted that he didn't have the best starts and then he made them mistakes and threw it away. But my God, was he on rails. That was so impressive to watch. And then I think the same with Jet as well. Now, just based on Jet's riding style, he's a very smooth rider. He's always looks like he's in control of the bike. I expected him to ride the 450 well. I didn't expect him to ride it to the extent of catching up with Chase and gapping Chase and leaving Chase. That to me was so impressive, and I'm so excited to just watch the 2023 Outdoors 450 season. Once he's had more time on the bike as well, I think he's going to be absolutely incredible. And should he remain injury-free over the next few years, I expect very good things of him. And I think it might have been Jason actually that said it about him, which might have been the only thing that he didn't say about an American. But I think he said something along the lines of he will be unbeatable, which I can kind of agree with. You know, it was so impressive. Hunter didn't really do Australia any favours, did he? Made one too many mistakes. Now, when he crashed on lap 1, coming together with Cooper, I wonder if that was intentional. I wonder if he looked across, saw Cooper and went, you know what, get some points here, let's knock him off the track, and then he ruined himself. So if so, that's just karma. If not, then it was still not the wisest decision just to go outside to outside there. I'm not sure why he was doing that. And then, you know, Mitch Evans, I think he rode really well in his first race, and then obviously in the second one went down lap 1, and I feel like you can only do so much given the conditions and the track. It wasn't like a super one-line track, I don't think, by any means. There was definitely room to pass. I think it was just where the track gets so fast, and a lot of time it just ends up being around the outsides. It can be very difficult to pass people. And you saw when Jet passed, oh God, what's his name? Was it Guadagnini? I think it was Guadagnini. Up in the corner that I'm coming to in a few seconds, he kind of like dived down the inside to make a pass, which is really good. When he passed Sexton over the finish line, that was a really good pass. A little bit aggressive, but I don't think he meant it to be as aggressive as it was. I definitely got a good reaction out of me. I was in Discord with Ram watching at the time, and my voice went very high pitched. I did enjoy it. I do enjoy some moves like that. Not dirty, but definitely aggressive unlike some people like maybe Barsha who go too aggressive. That I don't like, but I do like some aggressive riding. And for Team France overall, I think Dylan done as well as he could do. Marvin, obviously, he put in some solid results, but left a little bit to be desired. And then Maxime Renault, he done pretty well as well. Jago Geerts, I thought rode absolutely incredible in that first race. It was either first race or qualifying. I think it was qualifying that I'm talking about. He rode absolutely incredible. It's a shame that he didn't repeat it back on race day, because I think Belgium had a pretty solid team. I think the only weak link there really was Liam Everts, where he's still so young, and I was surprised to see him on the team, but then again, I don't know of much talent coming out of Belgium at the moment, so I'm not sure who could have replaced him by any means. And then a bit disappointed by Team Switzerland. I don't think any of them really performed how they would have liked, but you know what, there's some years where it's just not going to go your way. Apparently Team Great Britain had like fuel issues, something like that was making their bikes be a bit weird, but I've not read the article. I've just seen a post that someone linked in Discord. But yeah, we rode absolutely atrocious. I was so annoyed as well. Bloody Tommy went into that turn 1 in his first race in like going in there in P2. Bloody tagged the back end of Jet, washed himself out, and Dylan Ferrandis, and a bunch of other ones. I was like, for God's sake, Tommy, what are you doing? But if it was up to me, I'd probably be running a Wilson or an Ansu skin right now, but the Searle skin is the only one that's been made. Paboso, please make me crash. I'm not going back up there. We're going this way. And overall, I think I was actually quite excited when it rained. A lot of people probably weren't fans of it, especially the ones in attendance. I imagine it probably was a little bit miserable standing there watching out in the rain and the cold. But I think from a like viewer's perspective on the TV, I love a mud race. As we say, it's the great equaliser. It brings everyone a little bit closer together. And honestly, I think that if it was perfect conditions, I think America probably would have literally gone like 1-1, 2-2, all those positions every single race. I don't think there would have been a question about it. But because it got that little bit sloppier, where the Euros tend to have a little bit more experience, I think that's what kept them in check a bit more. So it made for some really good racing. And I was a little bit gutted that I couldn't go. When I saw what the weather was like, I wasn't as upset that I didn't go. But as I say, looking forwards to France next year. And hopefully we can get a bloody MXoN that doesn't rain. I feel like we've been very, very unlucky the last few years with the weather. I'm hoping, I'll cross my fingers, I'm usually a good luck charm. Maybe the year that I go, it'll be nice conditions. Somehow Great Britain will suddenly birth and raise these amazing free talents suddenly by like 20 years, and we go out and win with a whole new roster, because I don't feel like we just don't have that level of talent in the country at the moment. And I was saying to my dad as well, all the other countries, you know, like your Australia and your France and stuff, they've got very good riders, but they don't have free riders of that caliber. Most of them have 2, but then they have one ride that just kind of lets them down a little bit. But America, you've got all 3 of them. You know, you got your Cooper, you got your Tomac, you got your Sexton. Although very interested to see what next season brings. Obviously, Eli's not doing outdoors, so I wonder if he'll get picked for Nations again when he's just doing an SX season. Is Cooper's moving up, I believe, is he? If so, who's the 250 rider going to be after Cooper? I don't know if Christian Craig might drop down, or maybe Cooper will even drop down again for Nations, who knows. And then it probably will be someone like Chase again next season. I can't see him suddenly falling off a cliff in terms of pace and results in the AMA season. But yeah, next year should be really, really good. And obviously being on French soil, the Frenchies are going to have the advantage at that point, and I think they are going to ride very, very well. I'm hoping Dylan is nice and healthy for then. I was super, super surprised, actually, on his fitness, considering that he's really not been riding much whatsoever, especially after his performance when he came back. You know, his performances, they were a little bit lackluster. He didn't really pick up where he left off in the season prior, which is understandable if you've had that much time off the bike. But yeah, he was riding like a man possessed. The speed he was going into some of them corners, same as Tomac as well, actually. Like, Some of the corners, they were absolutely rallying. It was so impressive to watch. And it has just made me super excited for the MX Bikes Nations that's coming up. So we've got that on the 1st, the qualifying, so I am super excited for that. I plan on doing a whole bunch of practice between now and then just to get myself toasty, you know, get myself used to the 250 a little bit more. For some reason I keep doing all these videos on a 450 and forgetting what I'm doing, because it's not until you kind of switch back and forth between them fairly regularly that you realise just how different they are. I've just run out of tear-offs, that's not very good. But yeah, there's a huge difference, just from everything, from the power delivery to the handling to the braking. So it's one of the things that I do need to get used to, and I'm so glad that I done round 12 of aerial the other day, just to get used to the 250 a little bit more. I've been wanting to do a bunch of other races, but they all seem to be getting cancelled. I know that the last 2 weeks of the EMS 125 Championship, which I streamed round 1 of, that's been cancelled the last 2 weeks from the host having internet problems 1 week and then being away on vacation the 2nd week. So hopefully next week I might be able to bring you round 2 of that finally. So don't worry, I've not just disappeared from streaming again like I usually do. It is still there in my brain. I want to stream. It's just getting the races to do so, and I'm trying to get a day or 2 ahead in videos, just because I know that I'm going to be going away for a long weekend in 2 weeks' time. So I like preparing a bit. I like getting ahead of the game, and also, I'm not sure if any of you have seen, I'm not sure how the YouTube recommendations work for these, but I've started uploading some shorts, and they're purely just like, not even hot laps, they are just laps of Supercross tracks, purely because you can't have a short that's over a minute long, so obviously the SX tracks are perfect for that. If you have any Nationals tracks that are under a minute long on a good lap, let me know, and I'll definitely cover those as well. But I just want to see how they go. I want to see what the viewership was like, because YouTube have changed how the revenue works for shorts now. It used to work similar to TikTok, where there was a set like a revenue pool, if that makes sense, of about $100 million, and no matter how many YouTube shorts are uploaded by how many people, it would be split out between everyone. And now they've changed it so it works similar just to normal ad revenue. So there is no real cap on earning potential, if that makes sense. So I'm uploading some of those, seeing how they go, see what the viewers like, see if it brings me any revenue at all. I have no idea what it's like. I'll check on that after a month or so. Probably not going to do one every day. I think at the point of recording this, I've got one set up every day up until Friday of this week, but that's not going to be the case the entire time. Just I batch recorded a bunch of them whilst I was on bikes and playing a bit, and they're fairly quick to make, fairly easy and straightforward. But if you enjoy them, let me know if there's any tracks that you want to see a lap on in particular, maybe any tracks that you're struggling with. Do remember they do have to be under a minute long, unfortunately, just because of the YouTube Shorts limitations. But all good stuff, all positive stuff. If you went to Nations, how did you find it? Did you have a good time? I've seen some very interesting videos appearing on the internet of people getting like barged off of the top of porta toilets and all that stuff, but that's I was in the warmth of my home rather than out in a wet field getting pole drived by some random American geezer that's had one too many Bud Lights. Yeah, but that would do it for me. Really good racing. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully next year's will be just as good and I can go and see it in person as well. If you've enjoyed the video, as always, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to, and until I catch you in the next video, peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain, even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want.